As said before, we record these sessions. The recording has started since the beginning, but we'll clip the beginning and the end. And so during the call, it's better to keep in mind that it's being recorded and shared on YouTube. This is our last meeting of this year. Next one is on January 9th. We removed the one on, what was it, Christmas Eve or something like that. I think that's pushing it. Let me share my screen. Here we go. All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Standard items, new people, some reminders, leadership update. Making a note here, something about promotion, focus items, work updates, and any other business. Are there any points that you would like to have discussed, put on this agenda or shared outside of the collaboration and work items that are going on? Or any questions? Then please share them. I hear none. Of course, feel free to interrupt me at any time when necessary. We've welcomed Rock Lambros. Very happy that he's on board. He's just joined and he was forwarded by Sandy to us. He's very keen to contribute. He's contributed to OWASP Lento 10 also. Likes OWASP very much. Is very knowledgeable and modest at the same time. Some reminders. As you know, Slack is our main communication channel. Just visit it regularly to stay up to date. If you're unavailable for a period, if you're working on an item, make sure that you share that. Let leadership know if you need anything or have impediments. Help make noise for the exchange. Many of you are doing that on the socials, submitting to a conference, mentioning the exchange in a post. I think it was today that Benas did this, or yesterday. So it's nice to keep people referring to this. If we provide content, we focus on what is AI specific, and we want to minimize anything conventional that is, in depth covered in other material. We want to cover what's AI specific. And when you work with the Google documents, always use suggest and review mode when editing or provide comments. So these were the flight safety instructions. Always good to repeat some updates from leadership side, from my side at least. Benas is still to be onboarded in the leadership team once the red teaming results are in. My aim would be, Benas, that despite the fact that the red teaming report has not been shared, we want to onboard you this year. Otherwise, it takes too long. Meaning that, of course, the work on the red teaming report needs to continue, but we want to, distribute some tasks, get things going, get your thoughts, on strategy and approach.
It's okay.
Is that okay for you?
Yeah, it's okay.
This year?
Completely okay.
Good. I'll set up a meeting.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you guys in Slack on what is a good time. All right, and we can teach you the secret handshake. Berenice and I are exploring opportunities for sponsoring and further funding. This is not sponsoring to get rich or to pay any one of us, apart from reimbursing expenses. Like, for example, going to a conference to share the story if your employer is not willing to, and some possible costs for merchandise, for example. So we can finally make those AI Exchange t-shirts, and some costs for hosting, website hosting, and maybe some artwork that we want to have made by people who are not part of OWASP, but that's for a next step. So just for your information, we're exploring this, and we can expect some funding. ISO IEC 27090, that was shared today at ISO IEC, that this standard on AI security goes into a distributed international standard stage, which is sort of one of the final stages of an ISO standard, thanks to us. I think that's safe to say, thanks to the contributions that we made to Working Group 5 in Sensenalic, and through their liaison partnership with ISO IEC, contributed more than 70 pages of material, which now make a substantial part of the standard. It will go into ballot, and the countries will have opinions, but I expect some good results from that. So it's yeah, I think a compliment to us that this is happening. Latest news for the AI Act. Contributions can be made this year. Before this meeting, I had a meeting with the requirements group, of which some of you are a member. That is where we focus on. And that also explains sort of the biased prioritizing that we currently have within the AI exchange. We're really focusing on this AI Act work because it's urgent, it's important, and it forces us to bring this material to something that is objectively verifiable, specific, and clear, which can't be said for many of the guidance material that's out there, including some of our material, where we provide a lot of ideas on what people can do. But when it is good enough, that's what's missing. And by focusing on this work in the AI Act requirements work that we do, with our dedicated sub-team for this, we're creating material that can then flow back into the AI exchange. So if you look at OWASPAI.org in recent weeks and months, there have been just some mandatory updates there, because there's a whole sort of tidal wave coming up from stuff that we're going to port back from the AI Act work into the AI exchange. And that's the current strategy. It also explains why there is less focus in the management and talking about some of the other work items, because of the urgency of this work. And it's the root cause of this is the AI Act coming into place, and then everybody waking up, and then European Commission saying, we need a standard, go make it, and which creates a lot of stress on everybody, including us, because we see the importance and we have this enormous opportunity to contribute there. Deadline for us is this year, and given the season holidays, most of that will have to take place next week. And I have wiped all meetings from my agenda to make sure that I can look at the contributions from the requirements group, make sure that they can be turned into contributions to go straight into this AI Act standard. It's going to be an exciting week next week, because we've got a lot of things pending and a lot of contributions that are in place there, about which I'm very happy. But still, many sections that are empty, like, for example, detection strategies for membership inference, which is a tough one. Many of the detection strategies revolve around temporal similarity measurement, but membership inference is a tough one, because you present a model with a lot of samples, but there's not a lot of logic to those samples, other than that you're providing samples in a sort of a batch fashion, which can be an indication, but cannot be a reason to filter it out. Anyway, I'm digressing, but yeah, still a lot of work to do to get some decent text there. Why we do this, as said, Workgroup 5, working on this European standard, it has some great experts there, but it's missing sufficient AI expertise that we have. We've mobilized it. It's a tough job, because many of us are quite busy because of our expertise, which is ironic, of course. But I think we're in a good place when it comes to providing good contributions there. And we need those contributions. Otherwise, I think that January draft that we're going to publish will fail its ballot. Now, to be clear, this ballot, so this sharing of the AI Act draft security standard, is not a voting process. It is a comment process. But what happens if you share a document that is not showing promise of becoming a great document? Then the countries will not take it seriously and either provide no comment at all, or provide a lot of comments will create a lot of work. And then the next time you provide an update, they will not be enthusiastic and even sort of say, well, we don't have any confidence that this standard will succeed. So that is an important thing to achieve for us with this draft. Okay, enough about the AI Act. What was done for OWASP AI? The LLM top 10 had been updated, and we sort of forgot to update our links to it. So that was done, and we have a new tagline. Let me show it to you. I can't even type anymore. The tagline is, welcome to the #1 bookmark on AI security. 170 plus pages of comprehensive guidance on how to protect AI and data-centric systems against security threats, feeding straight into international standards. Made by the community and provided as open source to the community, part of the OWASP AI Security and Privacy Guide. What do you think? Any suggestions, objections, responses?
We're really the #1 bookmark on AI security.
Nah.
I just wondered how you quantified that. I'm going with it.
I did a survey. Yeah, it's our main goal, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Rajiv, you shared something?
No, nothing. Yeah, I was just kind of, I mean, yeah, I think you have to position it some way or the form. Like, so I think it's good. Like,
yeah, it is very well.
Nice. Maybe it's a bit too arrogant, but I don't mind arrogant for, ambitious, I would say. Ambitious.
yeah.
I can speak. Oh, sorry, Rajiv. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe that #1 could be possibly, if reworded, maybe that's one thought. But yes, otherwise it looks pretty nice actually.
Shall we make it number 2?
No. So we are not Avis or Hertz, that we are fighting for the first spot, Rishi.
Oh,
Both of them are equally good. Yeah, but whatever way.
You know what we'll
I
do?
would like
maybe like the
Reporting
leading
from-
source or something like that, not to quantify it.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry I
leading would
started
be
that.
Yeah.
I was
Otherwise
gonna
we are
say
Hertz anyways.
from an American perspective, it's probably not arrogant enough. You need to be like, now with 30% more AI security guaranteed to cure all your AI problems.
I think it's cultural, like different countries have their own way of like yeah, I think it comes down to that, like,
Okay, I humbled it down a little bit based on your feedback. Thanks for being transparent.
Mhm.
And it's also a cultural thing indeed. I remember a Christmas party in Beverly Hills, talking to successful entrepreneurs saying what they were doing, and I was sort of overwhelmed by all the great things that they have achieved. You don't get those stories in the Netherlands. Anyway, yeah. So the tagline, new and improved. Yes.
So sorry, Rob. Having said that, there is no way to disprove that we are not #1.
That's true.
Right, exactly. That's
So yeah. So why not keep it that way?
Leading is also good. Leading is more humble.
Yeah.
I like leading. Hey, Caleb, by the way.
Hey, hello, everyone.
Good that you joined.
Yes.
We talked about the reminders, the leadership update, OWASP AI update, conferences. We had the OWASP Benelux keynote on November 28th, where I meet Ben Haas for the first time. It was good fun.
Yeah.
It was a closing keynote where I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time on discussing the AI exchange. Had some good response. Because it was a closing keynote, it was not a lecture on AI security, but more a reflection on our relation with AI, our future as software engineers and security people, what it means to us, how AI can be misleading, how AI can be great. So it was sort of a more of a philosophical talk, and it was really nice to meet Benas. He was
Thank
actually
you.
quite tall. First thing I noticed. Is this a previous update slide from you, Benas, or is
No,
it...
this is new update actually.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes. So yes, as you know, I am invited for the panel discussion for the AI governance from ISACA for next year for February, 20th of February. So I have a technical test that lasts about 1 hour, and this is at the 8th of the January. And I think we are around 7 people, we are on a call. And so my name is now listed on a website of the ISACA. And I'm really excited about it. So the second topic is that I did the ISACA Foundation Scholarship. I participated on it, and I tried to participate to see that different people, actually student motivations in cybersecurity, and I try to figure out their value and their resume and their motivation is in the way of the cybersecurity, or they wanted to improve their knowledge in future or not, and according to their resume and according to their motivation, I gave them different numbers, and this was the one of the volunteer actually situation by ISACA, which I participated. That was very interesting to get to know the different generation, their motivation. And the third one is I met one of the professor, and she is one of the famous professor at the University of the Köln and Bochum. And she was very welcoming, specifically when she mentioned that 2 of her PhD students are interested in the OWASP AI exchange. I had 2 different meetings with the professor. One of them was alone. We had a 1 hour introduction, actually meetings together. I introduced myself and she introduced herself, and I introduced as well as OWASP AI exchange. And today I had another meeting with the whole of the group. Actually, we were 10 different people in a meeting. All of them, they were their PhD students, and they present all of their topics that they are working on. So my goal would be actually expand the name of the OWASP AI exchange by writing articles in the tier 1 journals. So this is one of the goals which I decided to go to this professor and work with him. And as I know that the environment which she is working is about usable security and privacy, specifically with the developers and in AI environment. So I presented 3 different suggestions for the articles, and now they wanted to speak with the whole of the group, and for next year they come to me and they present the topics that they can offer me, and I choose 2 of the PhD students to write an article with them. This is actually one of the news. And another news is that I wanted to, I'm collaborating with Arunesh to actually submit for the OWASP Global AppSec for the EU for next year. And I think the deadline would be end of the January. And now UV and I, we wanted to submit an article again to explore the name of the OWASP AI exchange. We actually choose the topic. The topic would be about one of the huge cyber attack on AI systems, which is ransomware. And so I'm very well on a ransomware, and I decided, we decided to work on this topic. So we had a discussion 2 weeks ago about it, and we started to work actually on it for next year. And we have to see that which conferences are still open and they are actually, which means that we have still time about that to submit. Yeah.
Oh, well done. The thing that you're doing with Aaronese, is that a thing that you do together, or are you coordinating which
No,
topics?
together. We wanted to actually to do together.
Great, great. Wow, impressive update. I also added OWASP Global AppSec, which is going to take place in Barcelona in May, which is not bad, I think. I will submit again an AI security training, similar to what I did for Lisbon, and also a talk on. I'm not gonna share it yet. It's a bit of a surprise. We'll get to that later. Thanks, Manas.
Yeah.
Good busy.
Bye-bye.
If I may, I think I have an update on the last topic too. Well, on behalf of Noma Security, which is my employer, we've been sponsoring a podcast about the supply chain and different AI supply chain risks, and we were mentioning and promoting some of the OWASP work from there. I can send you the podcast itself. It's very interesting. So I think it was nice to kind of promote our work, which aligns with the company values very much.
Hey, that's good. If there was a LinkedIn post, please send the group or me the link to that post, because I mean, if the AI exchange is featured in there, I'm happy to repost it also.
Great. I'm gonna make sure it gets to you.
Yeah, thanks. That's nice. Alrighty, what's different in the conference list? So OWASP Barcelona was added. This slide refers to engagement and communication document, where we've written down the things you should take into account when you submit and when you present on behalf of the AI exchange. And I welcome everybody to keep the upcoming conferences Google Doc up to date and share any ideas, and also coordinate what you want to contribute. We want to prevent that two people, have the same or a very similar story involving the exchange as submissions, also because that reduces your opportunities to succeed. And we can use the author Slack channel for that.
Rob, I have just one particular request, not request, but question or request for Ravi and let me see who else is from the India region itself. If we can actually look at the conference that are happening in the Asia Pacific India region itself, you should actually add those. I know there are a lot of emphasis on AI in India right now. Like last week, there is an AISS that happened. I think having some visibility on the conference that are happening, not just in US and EU, I think Asia Pacific is going to be equally important. And I think like leveraging foot on the ground in that region with you all being there, I think it's going to be very extremely valuable. And I know you have been presenting lately itself, but if you can actually add those things, provide visibility. And if any of those things are virtual, I think it's going to be equally important.
Sure. Yep. We will scan and keep an update on this.
Great. What I want to do with regard to the workstream updates is look at the things that have changed. The SecDev program still needs review. We'll do that next week and work with Gal. There's an update from the red teaming department, right, Manas?
Yes, exactly. So I think we received at least last feedback from you. That was the table was okay. You did just improvement in our text, and so we try to follow actually the same format as the previous document. You shared about the periodic table, that the PDF file. And we also worked on making the tables more visually appealing and organized to make them easier to read. And we are working on it, and we actually would appreciate. I shared the link with you that this is our final document that would be actually presented from us. So this is actually all the things that we change, and we try to be more actually interesting with our tables that would be more easily to read for the readers.
Without tables, what do you mean?
We try to somehow make the tables more beautifully, which means that, for example, as you can see on the table, we try to add the bullet with the different colors, and we make the tables more beautiful. And we try to, for example, about the OWASP AI exchange, the part of the OWASP AI exchange, you mentioned that you cannot really easily understand, for example, the reader cannot easily understand which part of the actually attacks are ticked. And so we try to categorize them like that, as you can see in one of the pictures. So that make it easier for the reader to follow it.
Yes. One of my remarks was that this needs to fit into the way we've implemented Markdown, because it needs to be a section of the exchange. Did you explore this? Did you check this?
We checked actually only the PDF document from the periodic table. We try to find out according to that. That's, for example, we checked that how you did it, the tables, and the link that they can people click on a link and they will go to the OWASP AI Exchange website, and we try to organize document according to that document.
Are you suggesting that this PDF will not be that this document will be a PDF and not a section of the OWASP AI website?
Yes, that would be the one of the section, definitely. That would be one of the section of the OWASP AI exchange, but we try to make it actually extra for the website as a periodic table for the periodic table which you created one.
Right. Not sure
about about the
not sure if I completely get it. Why do you mention the periodic table?
Because this is one of the PDF table that we actually check it, that how you created the table as a PDF, because you shared the PDF as well. And so as one time we mentioned that this is our suggestion, that we have actually a downloadable PDF as well, for example, for the AI red teaming, that when people open it, they can click on it, for example, for the OWASP AI exchange part, for example, for the data poisoning or something, and they go to the website. This is the extra point beside actually OWASP AI exchange website that we have data on it.
Yeah, I will reach out to you separately, Benas, to align.
Yeah, okay.
Because all the content that we create will have to be, will have to fit. That's our content strategy. Will have to fit into the AI exchange and not be a separate delivery.
Okay.
On the other hand, of course, we want the ability to save some of the content as a PDF. We're working on that, but that's this is for navigation and findability reasons. But let's chat offline.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the update. Looks good. You said you shared something with the group. Is it super recent, or did you say that you will share?
So this actually, Ravi, Yuvi and Rajiv and I working on this document and share it actually with you as well. You have access to it.
Oh yeah, but at that moment there was only one entry in the table, correct?
What do you mean?
I looked at the document that had only one tool in the table. Is that the
art? Correct. That was the art tool, and now we have added more, and we're going to add more.
Yes.
Oh, great! I will have a new look.
It was more to get your feedback on the format, actually, Rob. Once you've given that, then we will pretty much use the same template and complete for the remaining 9 also.
Nice. Okay, thanks very much. there are no updates on the math work since that is concentrating at requirements. Anything from standards mapping and taxonomies, maybe from Chloe or from Susanna? There are any updates there?
Not at this time. But on on the policy front, I did not put in the slides, is that Des and I, we connected and we're working together to be on top of everything that's going to be happening in the US in the upcoming months. So we'll have a lot more of an update for you in the new year.
Cool. That's going to be very interesting. Thanks. Will you be there at the next meeting on the 9th of January?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks. That was standards update, step-by-step guide. I think there's an update about this from
Yeah, I did that, Rob.
Ravi. Yes.
So, so we had a call on December 12th. As per Arunish's suggestion, we also shared the phase-wise approach for implementing AI security in an organization. That was shared in the AI authors group as well as in the step-by-step channel itself. We got some feedback. We're trying to address it. And it has been kind of going slow now. In fact, we wanted to schedule another meeting next Tuesday, but I think by then people would be already on vacation. So I think we're going to have one only in the new year. We had a question, a couple of questions. Are we looking at a specific timeline for this step-by-step document? Is it in somewhat aligning with the other work that we are doing, or is there something that we are looking at? That's one question. The other one is, how do we publish it? Is it going to be, to start with, it will be a PDF and then be converted into web pages for navigation? Or these are the two questions that we got. In fact, Venus asked those questions, and she also attended the last call. So that's a question I want to ask here as well.
Yes. The strategy for our content is to use the markdown document set that we have as a basis, because that will make our content uniform, which is also important for the red teaming work and which will be important for the step-by-step guide. Ideally, we can make PDFs of every page. Currently, we don't have that feature. So if we are able to sort of have an alternative way of providing that particular page as a downloadable PDF, and I think that the step-by-step guide would be an interesting one, because that typically would be something that people maybe even print, who knows, but certainly use as a document. But primarily, I think the best way to lay out this document is to use GitHub and use Markdown and let it be rendered as part of a page on OWASPAI.org.
Okay.
And the timeline is undecided. It is a matter of, there are several reasons. First of all, it's not depending on the release of the 0.9 version of the AI Exchange, but it is something that we believe has a lot of value to our readers. It's also not depending on the timelines of the AI Exchange AI Act work, the requirements work. So why don't we have a deadline? Because in order to have a deadline in our line of work, we, community work basically is you first need to have a team, and then you need to have a plan, and then you can set a deadline. So I invite you and the rest of the team to look at, so what are our next steps? What is a reasonable point in time to aim for? Let's go for that. Let's divide that into a number of milestones, or other ways that you see that is helpful to keep track of your progress, and that will set the date. I mean, it doesn't work like that. If I say we need this at 1st of April, I think this needs to be team decided.
Right. Sure.
All right. If I were to ask you, what do you think when this can be ready? What will be your best guess? And I won't hold you to it, just for me to get an idea.
I think it's my view. I'm sure the team can comment. My view is if we go at this pace, we agree on the structure, and we kind of provided placeholders, Rob. If you look at the document, it's a question of filling those individual paragraphs or sections, which is anyway happening. And of course, we'll have a couple of rounds of review and refinements, and maybe add some more content, etc. I think if we go at this pace, and if we can come together and put a little more focus, I think you just threw in a date, April 1st, but I was myself thinking the first quarter of next year should be a reasonable timeline to expect this.
Yes, that makes sense. Let me see if there are any further updates. The AI Act requirements. Yes, Aishwarya, you provided an update that I put here in this section. You indeed provided an overview of prompt injections, their impact on misinformation, their role in social engineering, and also some strategies to address such attacks at various stages. And we're going to work together to make sure that the things that we write down about this are objectively verifiable requirements, which means that a provider of AI products and an assessor should know exactly what needs to take place. And I don't mean specifying the type of database that should be used, but I do mean the strategy of, in this case, collecting harmful direct prompt injection payloads, how this collection should be done, and how timely this should be, and how this should be part of AI red teaming processes. So it's mostly about the how, which doesn't have to go into a lot of technical detail, but should be clear about the responsibilities of the provider.
Understood.
And we'll work on that over Slack and maybe in the next requirements meeting.
Sure.
And to wrap up, I want to open the floor for any points, any updates that you may have. Any, if you're open to work on certain work items, to share that, and I want to give everybody the opportunity to do this. So the question is, any updates from your side, or questions, or requests for help, or time that you can make to contribute to a new work item, starting with Caleb? Anything from your side?
Yes, I kind of reached out to Banaz, I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, on Slack, on some stuff that I wanted to work with her on. We just finished doing an experiment with art as well as Microsoft Counterfeit as some red teaming work that we're doing here at the university. And I wanted to kind of share some of that with her and see how we can incorporate that into some of the stuff that she's doing.
That's amazing. That's very helpful that you have this hands-on experience. That will be provide good additions, I think. Anything else, Caleb?
That's it for now.
Thank you. Gal, we aligned in the previous call. Rajiv, same thing. Susanna, same thing. And if you have additional things, just interrupt me, Susanna.
Yeah, really quickly, I touched on this with Dennis and Chloe, but I've been working on, based on the feedback that I got from the first two talks I've done, I've been working on a legislative packet for AI education that we can present to policymakers so that they can have sort of a more grounded understanding of how AI works. And I'd like for us to be the go-to source for legislators and other policy stakeholders to learn about AI. So I've been working on a way to package that in a way that would make sense to, legislators and other policy people. And I hopefully have something for that soon, but that's my current little side project that I'm working on.
Pretty cool. You do a lot of cool stuff. And you, I think, just now suggested the ideal change to our new tagline by saying the go-to source. I like that because it's not claiming anything number one or leading. It's just, yeah, it's just the place that you go to. I think I'll adopt that. Love it. Thanks. Which brings us to Aranish.
Yeah, I just had like a couple of things, right? I think Chloe, Dennis, and maybe Susanna also alluded for the policy side of stuff. Are we like only focusing on the US and EU, or do we are taking into consideration what's happening other parts of the world, right? And the reason why I say this is to make it consumable and applicable. I think having a global view, what's happening in all different domiciles, all different regions, I think is going to be important. And that's why one of the things that I mentioned to Ravi and I'm forgetting the name, is exactly to have like a global view. So I'm not sure if you want to actually loop in Ravi into the mix. Yeah, go ahead, Chloe, sorry.
So Susanna did a really, really good job on the policy tracker she worked on. And so it does, a lot of the sources also have around the world, not just the US. I think at this time, when I talked with Dennis, we are going to focus all around the world and being aware of all the different legislation, like in Japan and China, anywhere, basically. I think at this time, we're really, really focused on the US because states are introducing their own legislation at this time. So I think we're first going to try to conquer the US as much as possible right now, and then move on to other areas and other countries. Just to know, in the US, there's probably going to be some changes in January or February. There has been a lot of talks basically what is the Trump administration going to do. There's been folks that believe that he is going to revoke the executive order of AI. There's also chat of him putting in a federal law in place when it comes to AI to try to reduce several different states coming up with their own legislation. So a lot to see. We're waiting as patient as possible, but we're going to see what's going to end up happening, and we'll just keep updating everyone anytime we see something happening that may not be known in the public yet.
So I think we have an opportunity here to block something on the policy stuff that we are doing and tracking itself on behalf of AI Exchange. And I believe that would get like a lot of traction in this space itself. Like having sort of like a map of, okay, these are all the regulations, this is what's happening, this is what we think is happening, or this is direction. I think it's a good opportunity for a blog on this one.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I think Susanna is like really going for that. And Susanna, you and I, we could work on a blog together to let people know like what is the standard, so what's going on right now, and then what are the possible expectations and what for companies to be aware of for their legal team. We could do something like that, have something ready some point in January. Susanna, would that work for you if we did a collaborative blog like that?
I love it. Yeah, let's get on that, because I agree 100%. I think that a lot of the action is going to be taking place in the states, regardless of what the Trump administration moves to do. But yeah, January is going to be an exciting time because that's legislative season in all the states as well, usually from January to March. So we'll see. And yes, I would love to collaborate on a blog.
Okay.
And I think like it can be a series of blogs. One can be a global view, which is very high level, and then we hone in on specific area, specific region, like you mentioned, like China and Japan, for example, right? We can have like one specific thing focused on that specific area.
And what might be interesting is to do it where it's not, maybe it could be country-based, or it could be countries that their legislation is more towards, like, there's various different legislations out there. There are some which are more open-ended that really wants like competition to like flourish. And then there's some that have requirements and regulations based on risks. So it may be interesting is to showcase that for people that have an understanding that these are certain legislations that's really trying to protect society over what companies are wanting at this time. That might be a fun thing to do.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if people really have a very thorough understanding of actual risk quantification in AI, because well, most people are worried about AI superintelligence, and we're still trying to secure it out here.
Yeah.
On a similar note, I was going to actually write a blog on all the ISO standards relevant to AI. In fact, there are 6 of them, because as part of my work with Rob, like, on the requirements part, I have read all these standards, and they are all from ISO. And a lot of my customers keep asking me, so what would you recommend, and in response to that, I was going to write that blog saying, that here are these 6 odds, all ISO. I'm not kind of confusing with like other standards, but just within the ISO realm. So Rob, maybe I'll share it with you if you want. Maybe we can collaborate and publish it or whatever way. I leave it to. I mean,
This
if
is
somebody
very
wants to
helpful.
join.
Yeah, I recall the question last time, and I said best thing to do is to point people to the exchange. This is one thing that you can do in the blog. That's up to you.
Okay.
It does. I mean, let me show you what I mean and share it with you. You're probably familiar with this picture. Let me share it. A second, share a second screen. First of all, was this fixed now? Yeah, welcome to the go-to source on AI security. Right, we have that solved. What I wanted to show you is this picture. This exact picture is now in ISO 27090. No change. Just to illustrate what we've been contributing and how well it resonates in standardization.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I'd be happy to collaborate with you on the blog, Rajiv
I'll
and
do
Chloe
that,
and
Rob.
Sam. Looking
I'll
forward.
write something and I'll share with you. Then we can jointly push it, like, from AI Exchange actually.
Yeah.
Super.
I also
Okay.
wanted to offer, I'm sorry, I keep chiming in. I wanted to also offer some of the experience that I have with risk quantification. I was highly in deep with several companies and director of engineering of one risk quantification. So if anything is needed there, I'll be happy to help.
All right. Noted. Thanks. Okay, then I'll move over to Dan. Dan, thanks for joining, man. What's up?
Yeah, sorry. With work, I have a conflicting meeting over pretty much at the same time. So I've been trying to watch some of the videos and catching up on things. Yeah, the main focus really been trying to help out more with the red teaming side of the house and reviewing some of the specific tools for red teaming as well as kind of overall kind of getting the inputs. I know we kind of want to get things out pretty soon, so trying to help get that out the door as soon as possible and then jumping in where we can. So.
Super. Dan, and the other people working on the red team stuff, there is an overlap between what the red teaming work does and what's going on with the AI Act requirements, and that is the strategy for testing and also the strategy for detecting. And there's a lot of things going on in these tools, like for example in art, that also should be going on at developers and vendors of AI products, and we need to write it down in the requirements standard. My open question to you as a group is, who would be available and have the expertise to join in on writing down the requirements of these processes? Because we cannot say to providers, you need to use art version 6.3 or whatever. We need to specify the exact strategies that they need to apply in order to perform this detection. Who would be suitable and willing to do this from this group? Maybe first Behnaz, you as a sort of coordinator, do you have any ideas?
So I think Rajiv would be one of the actually person who is.
Sure, I'll collaborate definitely.
Rajiv, yes.
Yeah.
Then Rajiv, after you've looked at the risk management section and gave your opinion there, I would very much like you to point you to some of the open work when it comes to the detection strategies and the test strategies. And I think given this, you'll be able to write down just a couple of paragraphs that sort of summarize the main strategies of these detections, right? Like these temporal similarities and these spray attacks. So I'm going to pick your brain for that if you will allow me. Making a note of that. All right. We'll be busy, Rajiv.
Yeah,
I enjoy, actually, to be very honest. Like, the only thing is the constraint is the time. But yeah, as long as that is there, it's fine.
The thing with
the two recommendations that I would definitely advise is that any tools that we're using is not specific to any type of algorithm or any model. So that's one of the things that, we do. We try to make sure that it's model and algorithm agnostic. So that's one of the things that I would probably recommend. So it's universal across the board.
Yeah, I totally agree. We need to do this. In the standard, we need to keep it principle based, and maybe identify some use cases where, for example, the type of signals like audio and imaging may require different approaches. But we can't separate random forests and logistic regression approaches. We can't afford that. Just no time, and that's not what a standard should. That's not the detail level that a standard should have. So yeah, I think we're on the same page. Laz is traveling. Rafi provided.
Laz might be able to see the stuff in the chat.
Yeah, he was apologizing that he's traveling. So he's there. He's probably listening, but not able to. Maybe in a bus or whatever, waiting for an airplane. Because of the time, I want to be conscious of time. Looking at the people who didn't have a turn yet, any updates from your side? If so, either speak up or raise your hand to see if you have any questions, updates, or things to share.
I have one question.
That sounded from really far away. Who was that?
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, Menas, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I just want to mention that you asked about the rendering the content of the tables, and I think it's working on a OWASP Exchange website on a GitHub. So let's do an example with the one of the table to see as a test that how it's look like, and it helps actually us all of the team to do actually this table sooner. Thank you so much. I think it's working. It will be
okay.
ready.
It's working. That's great news. That's great. Thanks. So maybe Ahmed, any final words to wrap up the meeting from your side?
Hello everyone. No, we just working on the website revamping and the AI requirements. Me and Nick finalized a couple of points from the task list, and that's it. Nothing really fancy so far.
Yeah, it's fancy enough to me. It's good that you mention it. So everybody, as you know, work is being done for website revamp to improve navigation and looks. That is taking some more time. It will become January is what we expect, but you can expect some updates on that front, which is indeed quite nice. Which leads me to wrapping up with you guys. And we're going to be seeing each other on Slack, but because we're now actually seeing each other, I wish you happy holidays, and let's make 2025 even crazier than 2024. It's probably going to be crazier, and we're going to help the world be a safe place because of the AI exchange.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Rob, for everything.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your work.